Hunters of the night. Oh, he's got comboed. Ooh. Ah.
コウモリが攻撃を仕掛ける直前にフクロウが羽で邪魔してくる。遠距離と近距離の二段攻撃が。暗闇は私たちの独壇場よ。
Don't get too cocky now.
フクロウが攻撃のサポートをするってことはコウモリの羽音だけに集中。フクロウの攻撃の直後にコウモリが襲ってくる。今だ。ドンピシャ。
Oh.
空振り。完璧だったのに超音波か。くそ、また空振り。
Okay, this is about to be a challenge. Yeah. Much more than most humans. I love the back and forth. The tactics, the strategy, because, you know, they seem really quite competent. I mean, they are. Especially as a duo. Ooh.
音が消えた。羽ばたかずに。無駄だ。フクロウと違ってお前の羽は鋭く風を切る音がする。動かない。所詮は人間の聴力ね。ならばこのまま攻撃、頸動脈をぶち切ってやる。
Hold on now.
動きは最小限に。
Ah.
最大まで引きつけてから余裕で空中へ回避できる。
Right, right. This is gone. In his element. God damn, gorilla mode. He needs to have the back and forth, right? Take a bit of a beating. Maybe even be on the ropes. Then Gon gets going, right? He needs a bit of time to read the situation and feel it. Yeah, another attack. Yeah. Yeah. Pulled a new Vogan. Ah, okay. He did send them, right? He's getting a read on him. Okay. Ah, okay. Drench it a bit? Ooh, oof. Okay, this is a tough one. But you learn as well from an early age. He'll figure it out. He just needs a bit of time. I love this. Yet another really unique individual. Given his input. Okay. He's beginning to cook up a strategy there. Look at that design, man. Nice. Hold on. It's a strength as well, though, but Gon sees the weakness in it. Or the opening. Ooh. Ooh. Whoa. God damn, how strong is Gon, man? To create that?
コンビネーションの癖を逆手に取られた。
Oof.
一匹なら攻撃に専念できるぞ。
That guy.
ってからは圧巻だな。だがその程度の攻撃力じゃここではお話にならねえぜ。くそ。
Oh my god, he's running and doing it at the same time. Okay. Evolution. Team Rocket. Ah.
すげえ威力。全面撤回使えるな。
Ah.
どうやって。
Interesting. Most interesting.
他の村や町も洗脳された兵士
Look
が
at this.
国民を殺して回っているんだ。
リーゴが失脚。本当か。
そしてこのことを他の地区の人たちにも知らせてくれ。
Okay. Disruption.
今度はなんと人形の動きが封じられた。早い。神出鬼没。行動を読まれないようにしているにゃ。
Okay then. I mean, he is an assassin. Of course you do. But you've got to stay put, eh?
誘導作戦それだけのこと言ってはいけませんそう思わせておいて誘っているの
Yeah, yeah. To be expected, of course. No, you're not overthinking. The delight of agonizing. Ah.
それが思考の甘い罠それだけのこと答えはシンプル私たちの使命は王の護衛
Yeah, as simple as it gets. Speaking of the other ants.
今こそこのレオル恩返しするとき。
Oh, look at Monto to Yuppie. Not the most trusting look. Again, you know, the evolution aspect of it. The telepathy.
な連中信用していいのか。
Kendo Ikari.
全然信じてないにゃ。
あわよくば寝首をかこうと虎視眈々それならばそれ相応に使ってやれ
That smile, though, devious. Devilish. Devilishly handsome as well. Whoa. Whoa.
やっぱこっちはやめだ。
God damn, who is this? Huh. A beacon of hope or a warning? Oh, is that... in the open? Is that the chairman? Because it's the same aura, right? Let's talk about it. Beautiful stuff. Look at this. Was that the chairman? Out in the open, just like that?
コルトによると好戦的な師団長があと8匹いる。その中の4匹はハンターが遭遇していたのに結局逃げられちまった。
They didn't send the greatest hunters after them then. Gorto, East Gorto.
がこっちに来たことを知ってるからだ。だがこのまま見過ごして奴がさらに強力な能力を得たら勝負は全く。
He's so patient.
そんな連中が何匹も現れて王の側近になってみるのこら。護衛軍を王から引き離すところじゃねえぞ。で、もしもしもしもしバカな。だからあれほど略挙をしただろうが。
React?
あいつ以上の適任者なんていねえ。
Name drop.
俺たちがマークしておいたアリに逃げられたんだ。審査部の奴ら、こっちが推薦しておいたマントを使わなかった。
Interesting.
じゃあ誰を使ったんです？
聞いたこともねえやつだ。どうせ強戦だろう。
Oh.
強戦。審査部の頭越しにことを進めてしまったら、後のしわ寄せはすべて会長に行くんですよ。私たち二人の動向を決めるのだって。
A lot of speed bumps for the chairman, eh?
過去の実績がどうたら、教会への貢献度がカンタラってよ。
Donations to the association. Look at this. Interesting new dynamic.
奴ら強いぜ。何しろ欲求に対してまっすぐだからな。
Primal desires. The secret garden. Ooh. Oh. I like it.
副会長派の連中が審査部を抱き込んでいるって噂のことを言ってる。
Oh boy.
次期会長選挙の票集めのため、副会長への投票に応じたハンターにだけ仕事を回してるってやつね。
Okay.
証拠もない憶測でしょう。
あいつらが尻尾を出す玉がよ。肝心の師団長クラスにことごとく
Ah, yeah. Making it difficult for them and the chairman specifically.
もしうまくいかなかったら責任を取らされるのは会長だ。
Look at this.
そのためなら奴らはどんな手だって使って
Yeah, and the lives of the millions, they don't matter,
奴らの
right?
会長辞任要求の声は大きくなるだろう。たとえ王を倒しても500番近い死人が出ちまったらそれはもう失敗なんだぞ。
They don't see it like that though.
それは前から分かっていたこと。会長も覚悟している。会長本人が全てを総合して出した結論なんだ。
Certain sacrifices.
王を確実に倒すため必要な準備期間とその間の犠牲者。
Resulting casualties, yeah.
最小で500万。いくらなんでも多すぎる。
Far too high. Wow, though, this political angle, though. A lot of politicking going on here in the Hunter Association. The vice chairman, eh?
選別が国民にバレたか。
Oh boy. They're about to find out.
詳しい説明は後だ。たった今から東コルト
Martial law, okay.
戒厳令を発令。同胞の諸君は全員外出を控え、戸締まりを厳重に行うように。許可なく外出している者は反逆分子とみなし、処分する。
That actually makes it easier for them.
なお、誇り高き
Oh,
リーゴ制
lovely.
諸君らの家
Sitting ducks. It does make it easier.
キルアとゴンだな。勝手に動きやがって。
Whoa, new music.
上等だ。戦車だろうが戦闘機だろうが全部止めてやるよ。
Oh, it's a new ending. Right then, episode 99. Look at that. I mean, it sets it up nicely, actually, for the big one, right? Episode 100. It's kind of crazy, you know? It's kind of crazy that it's 100 episodes of Hunter x Hunter, you know, give or take. You know, there's a few or a couple that are kind of like recap episodes, but still, it's pretty insane. 100 episodes of anything, really. So yeah, you know, that's certainly exciting. And, you know, perhaps I am expecting something special for episode 100. But, you know, the thing is, I expected something kind of special or a special episode for episode 50, but it actually ended up being episode 51, right? I mean, that actually ended up being an all-timer, right? You know, that right there is a gem. The type of episode you do expect from a milestone episode, you know, something like episode 50 or episode 100, right? But again, you know, I've kind of seen it already. It doesn't have to be the case for Hunter x Hunter, right? You know, maybe this next episode is just going to be the continuation of this and just kind of, you know, keep things ticking along. And then maybe, you know, an episode or two from then, I might get one of those special episodes, right? A milestone type episode. But yeah, let's see how it plays out. I'll get to it soon enough. But for now, let's focus on this episode. And, you know, I've got to say, I think I enjoyed this, you know, quite a bit more than the last episode. You know, like I said, it's a functional episode. It's a necessary episode. But yeah, you know, ultimately, I'd say this is much more engaging. You know, I really enjoyed Gon's encounter because honestly speaking, you know, the setup in the last episode that Gon is going to have to fight them. Yeah, it's you know, I can't lie. You know, it wasn't like, oh, okay, I'm super excited for this. But, you know, the fight itself actually ended up being really quite engaging. You know, I love the strategy. I love the tactics being utilized here on both fronts, or sorry, on both sides rather. You know, Gon and the two that are teaming up here, right? Each one of them is kind of reacting to the other, right? Back and forth, one-upping each other. So yeah, you know, it's really quite clear right from the beginning that, okay, you know, this is about to be a challenge, right? But of course, us as the audience knows enough about Gon to know that, okay, you know, even if he takes a bit of a beating here, right? And he does, he certainly takes his share of, you know, hits, right? Blindsided by a lot of these hits. Ultimately, you just kind of know, right, that he'll figure it out. Because if you give Gon enough time in a fight, right, even if he's getting roughed up, even if he's against the ropes, it's just critical. being in the middle of that fight is critical for someone like Gon, right? He learns from it on the go, on the fly, right? His instincts, they drive him, they help him. And of course, he's got incredible instincts, right? And they really, really come into play as the fight plays out, right? And, another thing that all of us know about Gon is that, listen, he is able to take the hits, right? Or he's open to taking the hits. I mean, I've seen him do some crazy shit. I always kind of go back to Greed Island against Gensuru. I mean, it's still kind of crazy to think about that, I mean, it's incredible as well, just how much he's able to, dial in and really go over that line, right? It's scary stuff. It might be incredible, but it's also scary stuff. It has been for a long time. And, that's one of those core moments. I always think about that fight, him against Gensuru, and the things Gon pulled off there. But yeah, going back to this fight, it's just a really impressive showing, isn't it? And it's great to see him out there, right? Because again, this is quite a challenge. There's two of them, and it's not just two random Chimera Ants. These two are actually really quite impressive as a duo. I mean, these are really impressive tactics that they are utilizing here against Gon, right? It's not random. I love that it's not random, There's a lot of thought put into this approach. So of course, again, given enough time, trial and error, taking a bit of a beating on the ropes, against the ropes, Gon ultimately understood, okay, this is my opening, right? It might be a strength that, that they always kind of come in together, right? And, never on the same side, because again, they want to make sure that there's no possibility of both of them getting hit, right? Or taken out at the same time. But he ends up using it to his advantage. I mean, that one moment, he just kind of picked up that tree stump. I mean, he didn't pick it up, did he? He actually ripped it out. And then not only did he rip it out, he launched it, or he swung it with such force that, to the bat, it actually felt like there's this massive wall in front of her, right? And that kind of confused her, and she actually runs into the real deal behind her. And then, of course, as the gorilla owl looks on, Gon finishes her off, right? Now, again, it doesn't appear that he killed her, much like he didn't kill, the snake from the last episode, right? Much like how he doesn't end up killing the gorilla owl either, right? Just sends him packing, sends him flying like Team Rocket back into the NGL instead, right? So yeah, it's clear at this point, he's not fighting to kill, even though once upon a time, right? In the NGL, both him and Killua are implored to go for the kill, right? Do not show any mercy. Do not be soft around them, right? Because it could ultimately bite you in the ass. But yeah, as of this point, he's certainly not trying to kill them, right? That's not the end goal here, for him at least. I mean, he knows that he has to make sure they do not escape, right? But of course, behind these two, right? You've got Meloron, right? Who is really taken an interest in Gon at this point. I mean, you see that he's really quite impressed by the end of it, right? And I think the line of dialogue there is, oh, he could be of use, or he could be useful. See, now it's beginning to feel like, okay, yeah, sure, there's hints of something interesting being at play, especially, because the narrator is also kind of reiterating that, right? And kind of making sure that, oh, okay, hold on. This is not as simple as him just tracking Gon for the king or something. There could be something else at play. And I think by the end of this episode, after he gets to see Gon's performance and how he defeated these two, it's clear that, he's got something else. There's a bit of a different agenda at play here, perhaps, To me, it's kind of beginning to feel like maybe he's scouting, but maybe he's not scouting for the king or the royal guards. Maybe there's another faction that's kind of formed, perhaps, of Chimera Ants. Maybe. And, since, given his really unique abilities, he's out here kind of having a look. So now there's this new exciting possibility at play as well, right? Through Meloron. I'm still trying to get that right. But yeah, Gon's, problem-solving skills are on display, and I loved Meloron's running commentary on it, right? It's always good to get someone else's take on Gon, right? A new outsider, a unique outsider at that. Always, it's been one of the running themes of this anime. Really interesting people coming across a really interesting individual in Gon, right? I've seen many give their appraisal or attempt to give their appraisal of Gon. So yeah, it appears that at this point, Meloron is sold on Gon, right? I believe he did say this kid can be useful. But yeah, I'm guessing he'll continue to tail him, and the possibility is certainly there at this point, right? That possible conversation that I'm thinking about. But yeah, I thought it's a great showcase for all the improvement that Gon's experienced, right? Since leaving the NGL, leaving that area. And yeah, you see that he appears to be stronger. He appears to be, I don't know, even more sharper, right? He's always been sharp, but it appears that he's even more sharper at this point. I mean, his infield problem-solving skills, again, sharp as hell, still. And also, I get a first look at a running Jajenkin, right? He's not forced to hold ground anymore or hold position anymore as he puts it into motion. I mean, just the sight of that is just so whoa. I almost kind of felt the fear, or just I don't know. I just kind of felt that the owl must be kind of terrified at that moment, right? to see Gon running at you, right? Getting the Jajenkin ready. Yeah, it's quite the sight, and yeah, I mean, it's quite the step up as well. And of course, there's a few other Chimera ants in play as well. People like Haiga-sama and his two sidekicks or lackeys, and then of course Chitu's about to make a return. So yeah, they're set up for that. Knuckle and Shoot going up against Chitu, right? And now that they're about to be in close proximity again, Chapter 7 bankruptcy is about to be back into play, or take effect again. Or the timer is about to start up again, essentially, unless of course something else happens and that encounter doesn't take place and some other encounter ends up happening, right? Of course, kind of as expected, FILMBuFF and even the other two, they're not really falling for Haiga-sama's pledge of loyalty and all of that, right? Even though it appears that they've trained a bit under the Royal Guard and actually unlocked a bit of their potential, or even more of their potential. I mean, at the moment, they're kind of using them for this kind of thing, right? It's not enough of a disturbance that they can go out there, right, and look into this themselves, right? FILMBuFF is just completely not even, thinking about that. Even though, of course, given the fact that there's an attachment through Neferpito's ability, right? She knows, okay, she immediately, as expected, right? She immediately felt it, and she keeps feeling it, right? That, this disruption is happening. And of course, they kind of put something else into motion. Now there's martial law. Everyone's been asked to stay indoors, and, that just makes the selection process even easier at this point, right? Sitting ducks. But yeah, of course, she wants to be out there, right? It's kind of killing her inside that she can't go address this. But yeah, she stays put, much like Monteta Yuppie and FILMBuFF, the glorious FILMBuFF. I feel like anytime he's on screen, I'm just excited. I just want to listen to him. I just want to learn more about him and his personality. I mean, it's quite the personality. I mean, FILMBuFF truly feels like an artist, through and through. Be it his mindset, be it his skill set, right? But again, both for Monteta Yuppie and FILMBuFF, that aspect, actually getting to see their abilities at play in an encounter or in a fight, they're kind of saving it. They're saving it. Still haven't seen that yet. So I'm assuming it's about to be something really interesting and special, right? Much like Neferpito. But speaking of things kind of landing on Neferpito's radar, or maybe even the other two royal guards, I see something really, really quite fascinating. Both me and Killua get to see something really quite incredible, right? Now, I think Killua's reaction here is also something that should be noted, right? I mean, for starters, he knew he could not continue, right? Because the aura, or the intent, the malice or bloodlust, I mean, it didn't feel like that. Again, you see in the presentation, the visual presentation of it, that it's not quite like Neferpito's or even Hisoka's. As it gets closer and closer and you kind of get a better look at the silhouette, it appears that might be the chairman. I mean, there's two aspects to this aura, right? The massive component of it, the one that can be seen and felt from quite a distance, right? And it kind of, looks like the Eye of Sauron, or, it's, I kind of called it, or, I questioned, is this a beacon of hope, right? Or is this a warning? There's that aspect of it. It looks stunning. It's an incredible sight, right? Imagine actually seeing something like that, right? Imagine Killua being in Killua's footsteps, or in his shoes rather. And then of course, surrounding the silhouette, and even the silhouette, if you have another look, it appears to be Netero's silhouette. You still see a bit of that top knot, right? The remaining, remaining bits of it. And then of course, you see the really unique aura that's really close to his body, right? The spiky orange aura that I saw episodes ago at this point, right? Him putting on a bit of a showcase for Colt to kind of gauge the levels, right? In comparison to this new king, Meruem. But again, at this point, no one actually gave him that name, right? They spoke of that name. It's quite a beautiful moment, actually. In her final moments, she gets that name out there, and the beautiful meaning of the name as well. But as of this point, it seems unlikely that anyone's actually going to be able to tell him his name, or at least tell him that this is the name that the dying queen gave you. But yeah, based on the aura, the really specific, spiky orange aura that's surrounding the silhouette, and even the silhouette kind of does resemble the chairman, I think there's a really good chance that this is the chairman. But I think the more interesting aspect of this is, how come it's happening? How come he's doing this in the open, right? How come he's kind of putting out this aura, right? Because if Killua is coming across it, others are going to come across it as well. Is it bait? Is it possibly bait, or not bait? Because that's not part of the plan. I mean, hell, the thing is, the chairman certainly gave them a plan, right? And they're following the plan, or kind of trying to. You see that Moro is not too happy that, Gon and Killua are kind of going off script a bit and causing a few issues here. Listen, the thing is, the chairman is still kind of mysterious, isn't he? So it's possible that he's got other ideas as well, that he's kind of keeping to himself for now, possibly. Is it possible that he's kind of trying to set up something enticing for the king, for Meruem, right? For the king to pick up on, right? Oh, look, there's actually quite a challenge out there, something really quite interesting out there. Maybe something along those lines, right? Because again, it's clear that, the chairman is really quite excited about this incredible challenge, right? A challenge that possibly could be his last ever challenge. But, it could also just be the continuation of him kind of getting into fight mode, right? They certainly established that he feels that he's a little bit rusty, but, slowly he's been kind of loosening up a bit, right? At first he had a bunch of these soldier Chimera ants being sent into that pocket dimension, and he's kind of getting to beat them up, clean them up quite easily. And even at that point, I kind of question, is this enough of a challenge to really kind of get him going, to get those gears really kind of spinning again? But since then you see that he's been at it. He got into that battle fit, that shirt that's meant to be this iconic thing, the stuff of legend, essentially, right? And then, like I mentioned, he kind of showcases his aura, expels that aura for Colt, and perhaps this is a continuation of that, getting into battle mode, getting into fight mode, right? And him kind of expelling this aura. He seemed to be sitting down, perhaps he could be meditating. I mean, first of all, looking at the stunning imagery, and then, looking at Killua's reaction. Much like Meruem, you see that the chairman also kind of feels like this force of nature, right? At this point, I'm going with that being the chairman. And, I kind of touched upon this idea of him having other plans as well, right? That he hasn't really shared. There's certainly one aspect of it that both us, the audience, doesn't know about, and the rest of the extermination squad doesn't know about, right? This acquaintance, who again I believe to be Zeno. They all but confirmed it in the last episode, because Zeno's been here before, so of course he's going to be really useful. So that aspect of the plan, or that part of the plan, is still a bit of a mystery, isn't it? But then of course, it's kind of exciting to speculate about the type of gig Zeno had all that time ago. All that time ago, he snuck in here, right? A long time ago, around the time I first get introduced to the Zoldycks, I spoke of, okay, people at this level, assassins of this level, they might be a part, or they might be hired for all kinds of things, right? political assassinations and all of that. I believe I certainly discussed that possibility. It could have been something like that. Maybe he has been into this specific area before, right? Perhaps he actually has been inside of that castle, inside of that palace before, snuck in, right? Maybe that was part of his gig. But then also, speaking of political assassinations, there's this whole new fantastic dynamic that's being kind of set up here, right? Or being introduced here, right? Because up until this point, it's been kind of in the background. Right now, even the Hunter Association is getting really quite fascinating. It might be one of those Togashi setup moments, right? I've seen it before, the setup for York New City, the setup for Greed Island. Long before I actually get to those moments, this could be it, right? This could be set up for something else that might be down the line. But yeah, all of a sudden, the Hunter Association has become really quite intriguing, right? I mean, yes, it's by design, right? But I certainly, immediately kind of got hooked into it. I'm really quite excited about that aspect of it. I'm not excited about, them having these speed bumps and, the chairman having to, go through all kinds of hoops. I mean, even getting Nav and Moral ended up being a bit of an issue, right? A major speed bump. So, they're making problems for the current chairman. Because from their perspective, and by their perspective, I mean the vice chairman, I suppose, and his faction, from their perspective, this is a perfect opportunity, right? To, really have a go at the reputation of the current chairman. And listen, politics and global crisis go hand in hand, right? They just do. That's just how things are. I mean, it's clear that from their perspective, these lives mean nothing, right? It's all about the game and, playing the game. And getting yourself into that position or in a position of strength so you can be elected as the next chairman, right? So for me, it is a fascinating new angle. It is, the politicking, the rigging of elections, bribes and corruption, favors and all of that. I mean, you look at just how frustrated Moral is, with the potential loss of life. Right. And that even if, somehow they kill the king, but they've lost 5 million people, in his mind, that's an absolute failure. Right. Rightfully so. He's spot on. But you see, from another angle, this is quite an opportune moment for someone like the vice chairman who's making a play. I mean, this person is a saboteur, right? At the highest level, essentially. Trying to sabotage the chairman's campaign, his extermination campaign, in order to damage his reputation, of course, and ultimately kind of utilizing it to control the narrative, leading up to this election. The thing is, the chairman might not even be around. There's been a lot of setup moments here, leading up to this moment and to these episodes that makes it quite clear that the chairman understands, right? That this could be his last. This could be his final campaign against this incredible challenge, once in a lifetime type challenge, right? So the thing is, maybe our current chairman, Netero, might not even be present at these elections. But I'm also kind of thinking about the vice chairman at this point, the type of hunter he might be. I'm guessing if he's at that level, almost at that level, that he can kind of contend for the position of chairman, he must be someone similar to Netero. I mean, there's only one Netero, but, someone that's maybe in the same, I don't know, stratosphere, kind of close to the same level, maybe, as far as experience is concerned, at least. Hell, maybe it's opposite. Maybe he's some youngster. I mean, relatively speaking, of course, maybe a youngster in comparison to Netero, but not that young either, right? In comparison to someone like maybe, I don't know, Knuckle or Shoot, or Nava Moral. Maybe there's someone who thinks that, the chairman is past his prime, or the chairman is just kind of, I don't know, a bit of a stick in the mud. Again, kind of looking at it from their perspective, someone who's looking to implement a lot of new ideas, perhaps, right? Maybe wants to take the Hunter Association into a different direction. Hell, now I'm even thinking about just the buildup of the Hunter Association, the history, the origins of the Hunter Association. How about people like Jing? These really influential and esteemed hunters. How do they play a part in all of this? Because Jing is one of those really special hunters in this story, right? They've made it really quite clear at this point. There might be a few others like that, right? So how do they kind of come into play? But yeah, the shady politics of the Hunter Association, right? And the buildup of it as well. It's exciting setup. For me at least, it's really quite exciting. So I hope, in the 49 episodes I have, I kind of get to something like that. I mean, I feel like I'll definitely get to the end of the Chimera Ant arc. Surely it can't be 49 more episodes. But again, it kind of depends on the episode count. How many episodes am I going to have after the Chimera Ant arc wraps up? Then maybe I'll have a better understanding of how much more I'll get. But lastly, let me kind of go back to that episode from a few episodes ago. Same episode, the chairman is kind of showing off for Colt, or flexing a bit for Colt for comparison purposes. Again, there's a really distinct moment. Felt like a significant moment. The chairman cutting his top knot, and again, the significance of it, the connotations of it. I believe I said end of an era. So at the end of the day, it's entirely possible that the chairman is looking at this as his final campaign. But yeah, I think that should do it for this one, folks. If you enjoyed that, consider dropping a like, consider dropping some comments, give me your thoughts. If you are interested in early access or full opacity or timer-based full length, consider checking out the Patreon page and potentially supporting the channel. The links are in the description and the pinned comment. Also links to social media if that's your thing. Right then, thank you so much for joining me, folks, and thank you for your time, because time is precious. It really is. And I do hope to see you again soon for the next one, episode 100. How exciting, eh? Until then, take it easy.